first garden I'm going to be reviewing in quotation marks is basically a fence in a rectangle with on the side of the fence you have planting areas plus one in the middle. Now there's an area to move around inside like the mini garden. Now I personally really like this and design of a garden for the fact that it it's basically like a garden. You can plant things, you can move around, but it has that accessibility of if you're disabled, you have the fence to make sure it is. Um, the wood for the planting area stacked in like I was thinking in my mind maybe you could like the person could like maybe kick it to see if it is. If you're on a wheelchair, you can easily move around in it. So as a whole, I personally really like this design. Now the second design that I chose is actually kind of a very strange design idea. But I chose it just to point it out that I really like the idea of having a fence around it. Now the middle part, there's nothing there. I do think it could be improved by maybe having things inside, but the main focus of this garden is the fence because of the fact that imagine a disabled person who is blind for say but likes to feel the grass or something like that, so he goes inside. The middle area is kind of like the grassy part, but then to make sure that like he doesn't go off too far, maybe like the forest that is in the back, the fence is there to like keep the person inside there. Now similar to the example that I did, the example before this, I would have actually suggested to do like a mixture of the both because the last one the fence was a little bit lower. So if you had this in like the middle area inside, that would be perfect. Okay, so my third idea example, I chose it. I personally really like this garden, but after analyzing it and looking at it with a close look, I've started to realize that this wouldn't really be a good garden for the disabled or elderly, just for the fact of the reason that if someone is, for example, I like pancreas and moves them very slowly. The time to like kneel down to like the planting areas, which are indeed very low and very close to the actual floor, so that it would be a long time to get there. People who, for example, are blind, if they want to get for like parts that are in the middle, there's a lot of like wood there, so they can trip and fall. So overall, I think that this for like the average consumer, which isn't disabled or doesn't have many problems, I think this is a good garden for them. But for the disabled, this isn't a good garden. Okay, so the fourth and final example that I'm going to be doing is this sort of like combined weird garden, which I actually, compared to the previous example, I actually think this is a better example than the one previous to this, because the fact that this one actually is a bit bigger. It actually, if you can see, I'm sorry for the resolution, but if you can see it, it actually has like a little pathway in the middle. Also on the right side, I kinda can see one on the left side, and then it has like a sitting bench at the end. This would be perfect because you know how elderly people, they like to like sit down, just be one with nature. This would be one because, as you can clearly see, it has like the planting areas with the plants. So just kind of sitting there, doing their own thing, just chillaxing. I think they would have a lot of fun there. For blind people, the pathways with the little wood on the bottom, that would be like, oh, well, I need to keep on walking. And then like once they feel like they've hit a fence or something, like, oh, I need to like re-maneuver myself. People who are like extremely slow, unlike the other one that they can like fall with the woods on the ground. It's no big problems like that, which I think would work well with an elderly person.